I already kind of watched halfway through this because I already kind of know. But
Beta testers have had
let's
their
just
hands on
talk about it.
Mydei, and their impressions are complicated. While his flashy design is a
It
win, his
is.
gameplay is sparking some serious debate. In this video, we'll go over what's working, what's not, and whether Hoyoverse needs to make adjustments before.
If you're gonna make a flashy character, make them good. I don't want to waste pulls on a character that's really flashy and has a really cool design. I'm not gonna lie, Mighty has one of the coolest designs in the game. His ultimate is fucking beautiful. I love it. But I don't want to waste hundreds of pulls on a character that isn't gonna get me far at all. I'm mainly gonna use a second team for pure fiction reasons. So if Mighty can't do shit, my Herda team's just gonna full wipe, and then I'm gonna have 7 cycles left in my second team, which Mighty's gonna use like 17 cycles because he's playing dog shit. I don't want that.
Launch. If you've been wondering whether Mydei is going to be a top-tier pick or just another flashy disappointment, stick around. This video is for you.
I love the
Before
way
we
the
continue, I want to make it
AI
clear that the
says my
information
day
and
instead of my week.
impressions shared here are based on the initial beta tests for Mydei. As many of you
My
know,
day.
beta versions are often a work in progress, and characters can
This
go
is
through
true.
significant adjustments
They can
before their
change him.
official
I'm really hoping
release.
they do.
Whether it's refining his
I really want
mechanics,
Mighty.
balancing his stats, or improving team synergies, there's still plenty of
Okay, that's a problem. Team comps. DPSs need supports. Unless you're certain ones, which I'll get to in a moment. DPS characters need supports. It's plain and simple. You can't do a shit ton of damage just off their own kit. Buffs are... I'm gonna say it. Buffs are the most essential part of a team or anything outputting damage in Honkai Star Rail. You have no buffs, you're not going to do anything. You can go into Simulated Universe and prove my point right now. Let's say you're in a Golden Gears run. You get no blessings whatsoever. Nothing. You go into the final plain boss. No buffs, no nothing. Just plain team with just basic, like, character buffs. You're not going to do shit, okay? Unless you have, like, every character E6, S5. You're not going to do anything. Buffs are so fucking important in this game. So, maximizing buff potential is really good. The Herda's a great pick for that. She has so many buffers that work really well with her. Remembrance MC works really well with her. Robin works really well with her. Asta E6 is really good for her. I'm thinking maybe a Sparkle. It depends. But she has a lot of really good buffers. That's what makes her a good character. She's expandable. Her entire kit is basically like a part of her kit just gives her 80 free crit damage for an erudition character existing on the team. Every erudition character in this game can work with her, except maybe Ching-Che because fucking skill point eating up. But every erudition character can literally work with her. She is such an expandable character, and I love her for it. That's what makes her fun. If you make a character take only 2 characters on a team, you can only have, like, these specific characters. You can only have these specific characters, and this character is good. I don't like that. Honkai Star Rail is about expanding your options, seeing what team comps work, trying different combos, trying all this stuff. It's about just experimenting. If you can't experiment with a character, what's the point in using them? That's another reason I find Firefly boring. You can only use break supports with her. Like, that's all you can do. It's the same team every single time, same team. You can't expand with her. You just do the same thing every time, so she gets boring, she gets repetitive. The Herda, I can use so many different team comps with her. And she's fun as fuck. She's really strong, yes, but she's fun because of her expandable options, and her kit is satisfying to use.
time for Hoyoverse to make improvements. While some of the feedback from testers might seem critical, remember that this is just the early version of Mydei, and
they change
changes
him.
could still be on the way. Keep that in mind as we go through this. One of the biggest critiques from beta testers is that Mydei's kit feels like a jumbled mess. Instead of a cohesive set of skills that work together smoothly, his abilities seem like random ideas thrown together. Sure,
Just
his
really bad
potential
character
damage
design.
output
Really
isn't
bad
weak.
character design.
He has the raw numbers thanks to the natural power creep of newer characters.
Yeah.
But
yeah. That's kind of another thing I want to get into. These characters' kits can be really fucking bad and really boring and take a lot of work. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say work in building. I'm talking in-game with buffs, but I'm talking about power creep in a way that all these new characters don't really need shit to just kill everything. You know what I mean? Like, how do I word it? I kind of want to say, like, it doesn't take a lot of effort to make them put out millions, in a way. It's kind of like Firefly again. I'm going to keep bringing her up. Firefly, you can have a shit build on her. You can have one of the worst builds in the game on her. Yes, she can literally... If she can break an enemy, she's going to kill an enemy. That's horrible design. It takes no effort to make Firefly good, which is also another point that makes her boring. It's kind of like that.
the process of actually using him feels clunky and frustrating. Here's the main issue. Mydei's playstyle revolves around building up to a powerful attack, but the preparation time is excessive.
Oof. So it's kind of like if you... Okay. The Herda. My wife. She has a few downsides. If she cannot get energy, if she cannot get an ultimate off, she will lose a lot of damage. That's one of her problems. If you get the Kuro in Simulated Universe that takes all of your energy as soon as you enter battle, if you don't have that Erudition blessing that gives you max energy whenever you enter a battle that just gets rid of that Kuro altogether, it's going to take a lot of time and build up to get her damage out. Yeah, her basic skill, not enhanced, can still do a shit ton of damage, but it's not as much as her enhanced skill or her ultimate. So
Once you finally unleash his big move,
really easy
you're
to
back
get.
to square one, needing to rebuild everything for the next attack.
That's
It's a
boring.
frustrating cycle
Yeah,
that
it's
makes him feel
frustrating.
less like a destruction character and more like a cannon that takes forever
It's
to
in the name, destruction. You kill anything, no matter. just. Okay, I love destruction characters a lot, except Firefly. I love destruction characters because a lot of them match their name, except maybe Clara. But a lot of them match their name. They're destructive. They do a lot of damage. They destroy a lot of stuff. They kill a lot of stuff. It's kind of like that. But if you're gonna make a character destruction path, and they don't really follow that path, like in a way, like gameplay sense, then why would you ever make them destruction in the first place? It's kind of like Arlen. Arlen would fit Hunt better. I'm sorry. Arlen would fit Hunt better. The only thing that wouldn't make him Hunt is his AoE on his ultimate. But the only, like, destruction thing about Arlen is that he takes his HP, but he doesn't gain it back. That's another downside of Arlen. I love Arlen. He's one of my favorite 4-stars. Fight me about it. But he has a lot of downsides in the fact that he doesn't really fit destruction. I would honestly rather make him a Hunt character.
load. A tester described using Mydei as similar to watching a soccer game on TV. You're yelling at the players for making bad decisions, but can't do anything to fix it. His near-auto battle mechanics often waste opportunities. For example, he might finish off a low-health enemy when it would have been better to let another character take the hit and use Mydei's turn for something more impactful. If you're someone who values control and precision in your team, This lack of decision-making could be a deal-breaker. Mydei's playstyle seems to demand patience, but testers argue that it doesn't reward you enough for the effort.
Okay, that's another bad. Oh, that's really bad. Oh, that's really bad character design. If you make a character need to take so much effort, but they don't, like, I'm really struggling with words right now. If you make a character take a lot of effort, but that effort doesn't go in vain, what's the point? If you spend like months and months and months in building the character, and then you're in battle, and then you spend like 3 cycles buffing the character, and then they don't do shit, like, you're just gonna be disappointed and frustrated. That's exactly how that works.
The biggest issue testers found with Mydei is his survivability, or lack thereof.
Okay.
His entire kit is built around taking hits and dealing massive
I'm gonna bring up Blade in a
damage in
moment.
return. Sounds great in theory, right? But in practice, it just doesn't work. Here's why. Mydei's defensive stats are abysmal.
Oh, God.
His HP is absurdly high, but his defense is practically zero.
Okay. If you have high HP but no defense, you're still gonna take a shit ton of damage. Defense is extremely fucking important for survivability. HP is not it. Defense is. Defense literally makes it so you take less actual damage each hit. If you have more HP, it just means they're just gonna. Okay, let's do it like this. Who am I gonna use as an example? I guess Fujan as an example. No, she kind of has high base defense, and I've seen. Plus, one of her best relics is making her take less damage, so that's out of the question. Let's just put in a random character like Wohwa. Wohwa, she's a healer. You put a lot of HP on her, but if you put like 10,000 HP on her, but like 1,000 defense, that HP is just gonna go down the drain immediately. It's kind of like enemies in this game. Most basic enemies, like, Void Rangers, no, not the Tramplers, those are elite enemies. Just normal, let's just take a Lofu enemy, like, the Wolves. Let's just take the Wolves, for example. Enemies do have defense and HP. I'm pretty sure every enemy has an even split amount of HP and defense, especially in simulated. If you give that enemy like 100,000 HP, let's just say let's make it like 500,000. You give that enemy 500,000 HP, but you give it no defense, it's gonna die in like 4 hits, right? Defense basically just. So let's put it like this: an enemy hits you, and that attack is going to always do 3,000 damage. Always going to do 3,000 damage. Depending on your defense stat, that flat damage, actually goes down. So in reality, the damage would go from like 3,000 to 2,000. Defense reduces the damage done by enemies towards you, pretty much, if that makes sense. If you have 16,000 HP and no defense, that attack is always going to do 3,000 damage. Always. I hope that makes sense.
Making him a magnet for damage. This high HP also makes healers inefficient because their abilities often scale poorly with such inflated numbers. And then there's the kicker. His abilities cost HP to use.
Does he gain it back?
This means that even if you manage to keep him alive through enemy attacks...
If he doesn't gain his HP... It's like Arlen. It's like Arlen. It is literally like Arlen. If they don't gain HP back, they're a bad character. It's just making them more accessible to death.
His own kit pushes him closer to death. It's a lose-lose situation.
Yes, it is.
Yes, he has a revival mechanic, but testers unanimously agreed that it's poorly implemented. When Mydei revives, all his buffs reset.
That is dog shit game design. That is fucking horrible game design. I forgot if Bailu... See? Yeah. Bailu's revives keeps their buffs. Yeah, any active buffs. She has a really fucking good revive. Because if your character dies and she revives them, they're literally just going to be able to output the same exact damage that they had beforehand, making it harder for them to die because they're just going to be killing everything. If you make a character revive and then it's basically like attaching a wounded soldier's legs back, but he can't control the legs. It's kind of like that. A soldier's legs got chopped off and then you put the legs back on, but he can't control the legs. It's kind of like that.
Leaving him vulnerable and ineffective. It's like giving someone an umbrella in a hurricane. It's not going to do much. This creates a paradox. Mydei needs to take hits to maximize his damage.
Okay. Blade. My beloved Blade. One of the best characters in the game, in my opinion. I fucking love Blade. Blade is a really good HP taker character, and I will say why. Everything, you'd think, right? A character takes their HP, makes it easier for them to die. That's not the case with Blade. If you're gonna make a character take their HP, you need some way of them gaining it back. Because if a character just constantly takes their HP, it's gonna be easier for them to die and easier for them to not do anything. Blade is such an amazing character because of this. His only downsides, frankly, are his kind of little damage output, which can definitely be changed. Blade can definitely output DPS. But at base, he doesn't really do much, especially without his light cone. But his really only major downside is his lack of genuine buffers. He doesn't have any, like, buffer that is really relative to him exactly. That's why people use a lot of Bronya J teams with him, because they're really fucking good with him, even though those aren't his main, like, those aren't, like, buffers for specifically Blade, if that makes sense. But Blade is a really fantastic character because his kit is just, it's perfect. It's perfectly made. Everything works really well with each other. He's just a really fucking good character. Blade is one of the characters in the game that can literally solo Echo of War bosses by himself. He is one of the only characters in the game that can do that. And, like, he literally gains HP almost off of almost everything in his kit. Yes, he takes a lot of his HP, but he gains a lot of it back. You use his skill, he takes like half of his HP, and then he immediately goes into a basic attack and does a shit ton of damage. And then an enemy hits him, he literally just gains part of that HP back. And then he gets hit, it triggers a follow-up attack, boom, all of his HP is back on his bar. He is such a really fucking good character because everything in his kit correlates really well to his HP taking. You'd think a character that takes a bunch of HP doesn't have a lot of survivability, but Blade does, because a lot of the things in his kit give him a bunch of survivability.
But he can't survive long enough to do so.
That's
Unless
another
his
thing with Blade.
survivability
He
is
survives long enough
addressed,
to put out a
he
lot of
risks
damage.
being one of the most frustrating characters to play in the game. Building a team around Mydei is another...
Did you see that? Look! I'm gonna go back on the recording. Look at Blade's HP bar compared to Fujian. Fujian is one of the tankiest characters in the fucking game. Look at Blade's HP compared to Fujian's when they get hit.
Frustrating characters to play in the game.
Boom. Nothing.
Building a team around
Boom.
Mydei
Fujian,
is
a lot. Well, that's probably because... Never mind. I'm being stupid. I didn't realize they had the fucking Fujian buff on. Never mind.
another headache.
I'm fucking retarded.
Testers noted that there are very few characters who
but
can
still,
truly
he doesn't
complement his
really take a
playstyle.
bunch of damage.
For survival, Luocha is pretty much your only option,
That's bad. Lucha doesn't get a lot of reruns.
as most other healers just can't keep up with Mydei's constant HP drain. Sunday is another potential teammate,
Really fucking
as he can
good.
boost his action gauge and provide some utility. However, even this pairing feels like a waste of Sunday's full potential.
Yes, because Sunday's one of the best,
A beta tester
probably
summed
the
it
best
up
Harmony
perfectly.
character in the game.
Mydei's best team might end up being Sunday,
Besides
Remembrance Trailblazer, and Luocha, a lineup that feels more like a necessity than a choice. This lack of flexibility is a significant drawback, Part of the fun in Honkai Star Rail is experimenting with different team comps, but Mydei
Yes.
seems to lock you into a rigid setup.
Which is boring.
Unless future characters are specifically designed to work with him, his team-building potential will remain severely limited. Let's talk about Mydei's revival mechanic. On paper, it sounds like a great idea, a character who can come back to life and keep fighting. But in practice, it's another point of frustration. When Mydei revives, all his buffs are wiped out. This means that not only is he starting over from scratch, but he's also in an even more vulnerable position than before.
Depends on the HP he gains back, but still.
If the developers wanted to make this mechanic useful, they could have at least allowed his buffs to carry over after revival.
Yes.
As it stands, the mechanic feels like a missed opportunity. Instead of giving players a safety net, it just delays the inevitable. For a character who's already struggling with survivability, this feature adds little value. Now, let's give credit where it's due. Mydei looks incredible.
He does.
His animations are stunning, his design is sleek, and his visual effects are some of the best in the game.
They are.
It's clear that the developers put a lot of effort into making him look.
She's gonna say this soon, but he kind of feels like one of those characters, like, that you pull because he looks cool, right? Which is something I am not into. I made that mistake a lot on my past main account. I have a new main account, but I made that mistake a lot back then, which I've learned from. But I mean, it's your account. You do whatever the fuck you want, right? Like, if you want to pull characters because they look cool, by all means, go ahead. It's your shit. Do what you want. But in my opinion, I don't fully agree with it because this is a game, right? Like, this isn't an app where you pay to collect characters because they look cool. It's a game. You use them in a game to kill things. So, if you pull a character that, like, okay, don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing people that do that, right? Don't get the wrong opinion on that. I'm not dissing people that do that. As I said, do whatever you want. It's your account. No judgment. But for me, it doesn't feel right with me because I played this game because big numbers are funny. ADHD, I love fucking big numbers. It feeds my dopamine. And doing a bunch of damage and just seeing enemies' health bars drain, really, I like that a lot. And seeing a bunch of colors and satisfying effects and stuff, and seeing a bunch, like, I love the gameplay of this game. If you're gonna make a character not do that well, then I'm not gonna pull them just because they look cool.
And feel epic. But here's the thing. Amazing visuals can only carry a character so far. If the gameplay doesn't match the aesthetics, players will quickly lose interest. Testers worry that Mydei might end up being a character people pull for his design rather than his utility, which is a shame given his potential. So, what could be done to improve Mydei? Testers have highlighted a few key areas that need attention. First and foremost, his survivability is a major issue. Adjustments to his defense or the way his HP scales could help address this, making him less fragile and more viable in tougher battles. Right now, he feels like too much of a liability for most teams. Another big concern is his AI in auto-battle scenarios. Players feel frustrated watching Mydei make less than optimal decisions during combat, which wastes his potential. A smarter AI system that prioritizes better moves could go a long way in making him more reliable and satisfying to use. Then there's his revival mechanic, which testers feel is poorly executed. Allowing Mydei to retain his buffs after revival would make this feature feel less like a gimmick and more like a valuable tool for staying in the fight. Finally, his lack of synergy with existing characters.
Yes. That's another thing. That's what I really like about the Herda, is all of her best buffers and characters that she works with are characters that are already in the game. You can literally get Remembrance MC E6 immediately. She's really early in Amphorius. No spoilers, though, for people that haven't played it. I'm not going to spoil where you get it or how you get it, but it's just, I don't want to pull a character and then have to wait for them to have a team, you know? Like, when I pull a character, I want to use them immediately, right? That's why I pre-farm. I pre-farm for characters. I do that. I pre-farm for characters. And it's like, if I spent all this time pre-farming and then I pull the character and they don't have a team to work with, I don't want to wait months for their actual characters to release with them, right? Because I'm just gonna eventually forget about them and just move on to a different team. And then I would have wasted time, effort, money, and not money, pulls and like materials on them. That's kind of why I'm in a mood of maybe going for Casterus instead of Mighty.
Is holding him back. Adding new characters or mechanics designed to complement Mydei's unique playstyle could unlock his full potential and allow for more creative team compositions. With these changes, Mydei could transform from a frustrating addition to a standout favorite among players.
Hopefully.
So what do you think about Mydei based on this feedback? Are his flaws a deal breaker, or do you still plan to pull for him? Personally, I think there's a lot of potential here, but the developers need to address these issues before his official release.
Please.
Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this breakdown,
Well, that's kind of my opinion on the Mighty situation. I'm really upset because I really do want him, right? He's really fucking cool. Actually, his design reminds me of one of my own custom designs that I had for an idea for a character a while ago. His design is reminiscent of that, and that's kind of why I really want him. But if it's to the point where he's really bad and he doesn't work at all, that's like, it actually really disappoints me. Makes me really upset, but that's just my opinion. If you want to pull Mighty just because he looks cool, go right ahead. I don't really care. Do what you want. But that's kind of just my opinion. Anyways, I might try and get on beta testing so I can make a video about it and see how he actually works. So